Susana Martinez here, PEO for the CEO. You can always reach me at Susanna@PEOfortheceo.com or message me on Messenger via LinkedIn.
I am Lisa Guadalupe Clarke. I own ATL Search Group, and we provide bilingual staffing services for various industries. So I have what is called an employer of record. They provide my workers' comp, my human resource benefits, and also they handle my payroll and billing every week. But I tell everyone the reason why I'm so different compared to other staffing companies, I'm women and minority certified, so large companies get to check the box, which it brings savings to them, right? The second thing is that because we focus on what the client needs are, we try to understand more of their business and we work one-on-one because each one of my clients have a different program that is fitted their needs in terms of staffing. Why would somebody like myself want to use a PO company? Because a lot of times workers' compensations won't touch you when you're a young and startup company. Second of all, you don't have to worry about your HR and billing and W-2s for your employees. They take care of that for you. And you also have a hand to help you if you have questions with HR. You just got to call. A PEO company is someone that is your HR companion, and also they will provide you with any guidance you need, any financials you need, your workers' comp, your payroll, your billing. They are your hands-on friend. They will help you so that you could continue focus on your business and not working in those fields. It helped me because I'm able to prove to my clients that I'm capable to compete with the large companies, that I have a solid reputation behind me, and also I don't have to worry about how am I going to get the workers' comp if somebody gets hurt on the job.
Excellent, Lisa. I'm so excited to interview you today. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Yes. So first, I wanted to just start out and talk to you about your business and getting into the staffing role. And what I admire about you the most is that this is an industry that's very difficult. It's very male-dominated. You're a woman-owned Latina woman. How is it that you were able to break through and thrive in the successful staffing agency?
Well, thank you. So I have been in staffing for over 26 years, and I work for various organizations. But I always found that there was a disconnection between customers and the staffing firm. They wanted me to get the customer, put them in the system, and move on to the second one. But my philosophy is you have to build the relationship to understand what your client needs. So I decided 6 years ago to start my own staffing company because I saw in the community of Latinos and Brown, there was not enough help to help and guide them through the resume process and also to try to find them better opportunities. So that's how I got started because I like to work with the underserved communities a lot.
Excellent. So you've been in the staffing industry for quite some time. You felt that it was an underserved market, and so you decided to just go off on your own and be a luchadora and do it all by yourself.
Yeah, so I did have some help. So it was funny because at that time, the president of the Georgia Hispanic Chamber of Commerce had offered me a really great job, and I had to turn him down because I wanted to start my own company. And I started my firm with $325 in a dream, like I always say, which it was nuts. But because I speak often at different colleges, I did have access to kids that needed an internship. So he leased me an office space in Buckhead. There, I think it was like $250 or $300, and the $25 was my marketing working budget. It was crazy. And then
That's really good, even though it was just 6 years ago.
Yeah, and then I had all these kids that needed internships for school because they were in a jam for whatever reason. They waited to come back and apply for an internship, and there was not much available. So I took some of them. I told them I could probably give you like $25 for gas, but they were like, we don't even want that. We just need to pass the class, so they needed that. And then one of my clients happened to call me. I think it was maybe like the second week I was open, and he said that he needed a procurement person. And I was like, well, I'm not working for my previous employer. I'm doing my own thing. So he's like, well, what are you doing? I said, I'm still in staffing. He said, well, go ahead and find me somebody. So $9,800 was my working capital that I got. And I feel very blessed because my first year I was billing over $1 million.
Wow.
So, yeah. which it was really a blessing because most companies, they don't start like that. It takes a long time. So I feel very blessed because I was able to do that, right?
Yeah.
So and then I have my own office, and then I moved to my new space, and I started hiring full-time recruiter, full-time salesperson, and just different projects that I have come across that are very meaningful, because a lot of times people want to diversify the workforce, but they don't understand that when you diversify something, changes are going to happen.
Right.
So I love my HR people, but I always tell them you have to talk to the hiring managers, because once we bring diversity into the workplace, new ideas will come. So they have to be open to try it. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, what's going to affect the most is the bottom line, which is going to increase, right? Mm-hmm. Because how can you say we're a diverse company when you don't have representation if you're selling to the Latino community per se? So when I started my company, we were probably like 80% African American and 20% Latinos. And for whatever reason now, we probably about 90% Latinos and 10% other. So we have become the #1 staffing company in Georgia for our Latino community.
Congratulations, that's
Thank
excellent.
you.
So when you talk about $1 million billing that first year, that's phenomenal. Congratulations to you.
Thank you.
However, I know that there's profit margins are
Yes.
slim when it comes to
Yes.
staffing companies.
Yes.
And it's really important that a staffing company knows their payroll burden.
Yes.
And so let's talk about this initially, because I know there's insurance carriers that will not write startup staffing.
Oh yeah, I went through that a lot. I could share you my own experience. So my issue wasn't getting the business. My issue was finding a company that will provide that for me. So I tried to do it on my own, and most workers' comp companies wanted me to be in business 4 to 6 years.
Yep.
That's the standard, right?
It is the standard.
So it's very frustrating, because in a staffing world, you need two things. You need a really good workers' comp, especially when you do light industrial, because somebody's going to get hurt somewhere along the line, and you don't want to take that risk. Number two, you're going to need working capital. So those are the two biggest things that you need. So when you're a startup, it's very limited to companies that are going to do that. And I used to get really frustrated, because I said, how can it be that I have all this business that I cannot even service because I didn't have neither? And I talked to a bunch of companies and nobody would touch me until I found a PO company that works with startup companies like myself, and I'm still having a relationship with them. It's been 6 years. And it had worked out really good for me, because besides at the beginning, they were offering me the funding and also all the administrator duties that go into the payroll, the W-2s for all the temps, including my in-house employees and myself. And then they also offer me HR services, right? Things that I may not know. And in addition to that, we're able to get the W-2s on times for all my temporary staff. So that was great. I want to say about 3 years ago, I decided to now, because I was a little more mature, I was able to get my own funding. So I was able now to qualify for that, right? But I still have my employer of record, or my PO, because it is very difficult. Even though I've been in business for 6 years, I'm still considered a really young firm in my world. So I needed to have that so I could focus on my business and growing it, and not so much about the workers' comp, because it will kill your business. The cost is really high.
It is really high. And your clients do require proof that you have workers' comp
Every
coverage.
year I have to send them a new certificate around January to let them know, to show them, because they don't want to take a risk.
Exactly.
Because if somebody gets hurt on the job, it's not just me at risk, it's them. So we want to make sure also that we take care of our employees if they do get hurt, that they get the proper medical care that they need.
Excellent. And anytime you go out to bid on a new contract, they want to know
So
that you have everything
in order.
Yeah.
As you mentioned, being a woman in this world is very tough, because it's mainly male run, and being a Latina is even tougher. A lot of times I have to compete with very large companies, and I go on these portals and register, and unless you have built a relationship with those clients, they don't even take a look at you, because they think that you don't have the proper documentations that there is required for you to do business with them, which is the workers' comp, the financing, to make sure, because they don't want any issues, right? But I always tell people it's not easy to do this type of work, but if you consistently knock on doors, eventually one of them is going to open, and that's all you need. So we have been very successful that we haven't given up and work really hard to build the pool of clients that we have. And the best thing is that we have changed so many people's life by providing them a better opportunity. That's priceless to me in my world.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
So what is the secret to you kicking ass out there?
God, I don't know. I think it's hard work and not giving up. I think that after you have been in any company, after I would say maybe the second year, the honeymoon is over. I know people say 3 to 5 years, but to be honest with you, the second year, you either say, holy cow, what did I do? I could just be working for someone and take a paycheck and go home. But there's something bigger than that. I always tell people that entrepreneurs are not normal people. We're the last ones to get paid because we want to make sure all our bills and our staff is paid. But there's something inside of us that drives us because we want to make a difference. And I think it takes a lot of hard work and a lot of guts to do that, because we figure, oh, let me just throw myself out there and then I'll figure it out as I go. And you're going to make mistakes, but I always tell people, don't give up. You learn from those mistakes not to do them again. And then you just keep going. You don't give up.
How are you able to manage to be competitive and win some of these contracts that you're going after against these larger male-dominated companies that have been in business for a very long time?
So one of the things that I tell my clients when I first meet them is that I'm not a traditional staffing company. We're not order takers. And they look at me puzzled, right? So I tell them, I want your job orders. We're going to have built a relationship, because it's like when you buy a pair of shoes. It could be different brands, right? And you try them and you different sizes, right? So I always tell them, tell me the good, the bad, and the ugly, because obviously they're seeking for another staffing company because something is wrong, right? Mm-hmm. What I tell them is, let's partner. And a lot of times when I get a client that tells me, well, I've been looking for somebody for the past 5 months, so that's a red flag to me. Something is not quite right. So we look at the job description, we look at the pay, especially in this market because it's so competitive. So their job is not to know exactly what the market is paying. Their job is to run their business, right? So my job is to make them aware of where they're falling short, whether they have too much stuff in the job description or they're not paying enough.
Excellent. Can you think of any examples where your PEO company has really provided some guidance that have really kept you out of hot water or really helped you win a client or keep a client?
Well, I would tell you, I was a pretty new company and then COVID hit, right? So I think one of the things that it wasn't easy, but it made things easier for me, is that I had a person in the HR department that was able to guide me and tell me if the people are not working because of what's going on in your area, they could collect unemployment and then you could call them back because they got sick with COVID. So I want to make sure I took care of them. And that's something that probably a small business owner would not be aware, that the people could collect unemployment while they were out sick. So we had it, with their help, we were able to make sure they still got a paycheck while they were sick.
How has being in that PEO relationship helped your business?
Well, it helped me a lot during COVID. Even though I was a small company, then we got hit with COVID, right? So while the temporary staff were out, they guided me and informed me that the folks that were out because they were sick, they could collect unemployment. So they helped me with the paperwork, because I was like, oh my God, where do you start?
Yeah.
And then because there was not work for them, because we didn't have clients that were open during that time, we had all these people that used to work for us. They couldn't work because I didn't have any work for them. So we were able to assist them so they could collect unemployment. And then once we started bringing them back to work because the economy started being active again, then it was easier for us to do that transition.
Excellent. Did they help you with the PPP loan?
No, they didn't. I had to do that on my own.
Oh, darn.
Yeah, that was tough. That I had to do on my own. But at least we were taking care of the employees, which is my bread and butter for my business.
All right. Is there anything else that they helped you on? Maybe a workers' comp claim that you can
Definitely.
Give us some examples.
Oh, God. The first time we had a bad workers' compensation, they walked me through the process, which I want to make sure that, number one, the employee was taken care of. But then, even though something he did was his fault, then the employee tried suing me, and their it was because I placed them on the job.
Oh, goodness.
So he purposely got hurt. The good thing is that now we have some folks that we call workers' comp collectors.
Yeah.
That's their career.
That's their career.
However, now with the industry has evolved that when you enter Social Security number, it pops.
Good.
Right? Which is really helpful for small companies like us. But if you don't have a good workers' comp company or good partnership, I could have gotten into a lot of trouble. And I was really scared. I'm not going to lie. It was my first one. I was like, oh my God, what do I do? It was just a letter from an attorney.
Was it
but
a
as
very
soon as
expensive claim?
I forgot what they were saying, but of course they didn't get anything because this person, they found out that's what he did for a living. He goes into jobs in warehouses, gets hurt, and try to collect unemployment. But for somebody that doesn't have someone to guide them, it could be really scary because it was for me. Now I'm more prepared, right? The other thing when we started with E-Verify, because my company is women and minority certified, so we do E-Verify all our employees. So they walk us through the training on how to do that. We have our own ID number, so everyone that comes into us, they have to have legal documentation because they go through the process of E-Verify. So they're able to do audits every year. If there's IDs that have been expired, they send me a list so that we make sure we keep up with that.
And the PEO is helping you with that?
Yeah,
Okay.
yes, they are.
Anything, any other type of HR related issues that they've helped you?
We have a handbook,
Okay.
which is, oh, I didn't know about it. Well, it's on your handbook. The other thing that has been very helpful, when we started, it was paper applications. So you can imagine we had to type all that, which it takes time from my recruiting team. So now we have an online onboarding application that we send them a link, and it's in English and Spanish, which is so easy for us.
Yes.
We just review it, make sure all the information is there. We upload the documents. We do E-Verify, so it has become much easier. And it's very good with our timing, so we don't have to constantly be typing information.
Excellent. So what advice would you give to other startup staffing companies like yourself?
Make sure that you have a good attorney. Make sure you have a great accountant that understands your business. Make sure that you have a PO company that partners with you and understands your needs. So when you call them, they'll pick up the phone and guide you with any questions that you may have, whether it's related to billing or HR. So, and don't give up because it's a tough job dealing with people, but someone has to do it.
Excellent. So glad to hear that. And so that takes us into what you're now also getting involved in, and that is the nonprofit of giving back to other startup Latina business-owned businesses. So can you tell us a little bit about Latina Rise?
Oh, sure. Latina Rise is a nonprofit organization that mentor, educate, and give business opportunities to women who have been in business at least 3 years with $250,000 of revenue or more. The reason why we're doing this is because, like myself, I needed help to continue to grow. We're doing an excellent job starting a business, but who's helping us grow? Our needs are totally different, and even though have been great organizations that they will do a little bit here, a little bit that, I feel like I wanted to invite them to be part of us and do stuff together. But whatever they're not doing, that as a business owner, I know that I wanted to bring that education in-house and provide those tools, right, for our Latinas so we could continue to grow. And I have been part of this community for a very long time, and I have served in different Latino boards. I had created, including Emma from the Georgia Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. I was one of the founders, and it's a great thing that they're doing. But again, we needed that extra help to continue to grow. And who else, I figure, better than me? Because I know what it takes to start a business. I know what I need to continue to grow. And I couldn't find like all the tools in one place that I need. And I was like, if I'm having a hard time, and I know so many people in our community, imagine somebody that doesn't know the same folks that I do. So why not share that information?
Excellent. Thank you, Lisa. We're so excited about that.
Yes. And I would tell you, UPS have been a tremendous partner with us. We just announced recently that they're going to give 10 paid sponsorships for mentoring program for 1 year for 10 Latinas. And they're also going to have a competition for a $5,000 grab. And I'm very excited. We have a lot of partners They're coming with us next year for a programming, and it's going to be fantastic. I'm going to learn too myself, right? Because I'm not all the way on top yet, but I'm on my way, I always say. So it's going to be awesome.
Keep learning.
Always.
Yes.
And that's the beauty of being in business, that you always learn something new, especially because things have evolved. And in our industry, they change almost every day. Yeah. So you have to be open-minded to that.
Excellent. Is there anything else that you would like to share with us?
So I would tell you, if you are a business owner, I don't want you to feel alone. A lot of times we go through processes and life happens, right? There's other people that maybe have gone through that stuff, and try to find the right folks to talk about whatever issues you're having. I know we have a tendency to go to friends or neighbors, but I always say, lo barato sale caro, which is the cheap things are expensive long term. If you need professional help with something, go to a professional person that knows what they're talking about. Because even though you have to pay, long term, it's going to save you a lot of money and a lot of headaches.
Vale la pena.
Yep. I always say that. I know that we like to be like, oh, we don't know mi compadre. My friend knows about it. Don't do that. No. Get professional help.
Susana Martinez here, PEO for the CEO. You can always reach me at Susana@PEOfortheceo.com or message me on Messenger via LinkedIn.